Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost?
While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you. Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit SCEducationLottery.com.
Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, and we are still on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly. The show is getting better and better every single day. I love doing it, and I got to tell you, I had an epiphany today. I had a realization. I went to see the movie Sinners today, and I saw it at, you know what, let me back up. I was pronouncing the theater wrong all this time. I called it Cinépolis. It's Cinépolis. Cinépolis.
You asked?
No, they had a promo up on the screen, you know, in-house promotion. They're promoting, like, when you come to Cinépolis, you get this, you get this. I said, what the hell is Cinépolis? I thought it was Cinépolis, but it's Cinépolis. Anyhow, I went there in Inglewood to see Sinners today. 11 a.m., first show. I'm thinking I should be good. No one's going to be kicking my chair because I got a chair up against the wall, recliner. There shouldn't be a lot of people in there. It's 11 a.m. There are about 20 people in the theater. It starts. It's not too loud. So like you had said in your review, some of the dialogue can be a little difficult to hear. That's important. About 15, 20 minutes into the movie, these two women walk in. And I say two women, I think they were a couple. They're sitting in the same row as me, about 4 seats down to the left. They reek of weed. They start talking. Then if you know anything about Cinépolis, they will have the waiter or waitress, the concierge, the person who will come to you and take your order. So they're talking, and then they got to give their order. And they're talking more and louder because they can't see what's on the menu and they got to talk about everything. Do I want this and do I want that? I'm already pissed off at this point because we're well into the movie.
Oh my God.
And I'm really trying to pay attention without giving away anything in the movie, but there's a buildup, which is really important. I'm trying to concentrate between who is smoke and who is stack. Okay. I'm trying to figure out the small idiosyncrasies because they do come back later on. They give their order and the talking continues. I could have sworn they thought they were Netflix and chilling in their own living room because they were talking as if nobody was around. And I'm looking like, am I going to be the one? Because I know the moment I say something, there's going to be an escalation and I don't want that. Because I was thinking like, this might be the last time I go to a theater. It was that bad.
Wow.
It was like this might be the last time I go to the theater. And then they're not really even talking about the movie. They're just talking.
Oh, wait, so they're just having a conversation.
Just having a conversation about this, that, and the other. And by the way, there's a big ass screen in front of all of us. And, you know, and I say I smell weed because they were high and probably not really aware of everything going on around them. After a certain point, this is a true story. They're about 4 seats to my left. I turned my head and said, "Can you please stop talking through the movie?" Now, the one who was closest to me said, "What?" I said, "Can you please stop talking through the movie?" And I enunciated to make sure they both could understand me. The woman who was on the other side started to raise up. I said, don't raise up. Do not raise up. Yeah. And I said it loud enough where everyone in the theater could hear me. Do not raise up. Because at that point, everybody's movie's ruined.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't no one seeing the movie after this.
No one's going to see the movie if you raise your ass up out of the seat and you walk towards me. Am I going to hit a woman? Absolutely not. But she would have caught some salmon Southwest bowl in her face. It was not going to end well if she got up and approached me.
I like to say
I think there were a couple, and this is just my interpretation. I believe that one of the women felt it was her job to defend the honor of who she came to the movies with. And they were both high, so I don't think they were thinking in their right mind. But I had to say, almost like I was talking to a child, do not raise up. Then she thought better of it and sat back down. And for the next hour and 45 minutes of the movie, we didn't have any major incident. And if you've seen the movie, as soon as the credits start rolling, they scampered their asses out of there. Didn't even wait for the mid-credit or final credit scene.
Okay.
But it was so disruptive. I said, I don't need this. I cannot get into a situation. I don't want to call it a fight. A situation with two women in a theater at 11:45 in the morning. I just want to watch a movie. I paid my money, reserved my seat. I was enjoying my food. And I'm thinking there are only 15 people in the theater because the movie's already started at this point. There's no one in my row. Nobody. I said, yes, this is the way it's supposed to be. And then it went all to hell after that.
Well, here's the thing. After you say something, you're in fight or flight mode for the rest of the movie.
But because you don't know if it's done for them. You don't know if it's over.
No, you have to be ready for an attack.
I was thinking, like, are they going to throw something at me? Yeah, I just don't know. It's like the movie experience should not have to be like that. And I was thinking, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And did it impact my enjoyment of the movie? You bet your ass it did.
Yeah,
it really took a lot away from it. And I want to see it again because I know I missed something because I was too busy staring down this woman who was getting ready to get up out of her seat and come walk over to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are people paying theater prices to have a conversation that they can have at home?
I have no idea. Maybe it's just poor upbringing. I'm being serious. Like, who told you that was a good idea? Who told you that I was the a-hole for reminding you to stop talking through the damn ass movie?
You know, that's a thing online. People post, "Am I the a-hole?" And I think in this one, if you were to ask the public if you were the a-hole in this situation, absolutely not.
But don't you have that internal conversation with yourself where you say, okay, I know if I do X, Y, or Z, it's going to escalate it to the next thing. I've already played out every scenario in my head. If they walk over to me, if they throw something at me, if they try to throw a punch at me, which is not, unbelievable, impossible. I was resigned at that point. I'm not going to make it to the end of the movie. Yeah. So, but I'm not going to just sit through the movie and enjoy it. Yeah, I'm not going to sit through the movie and just be uncomfortable and not say anything because I paid my money and I should have a reasonable experience with the movie.
Yeah. No, and it's one thing if people are having that. If you're alone in a theater, by all means, you paid money, you're not disturbing anybody, but other people there paid the same amount as you did to get in there, and they're not there to hear you having chatterbox conversations.
Right. When I can understand everything that you're saying, you're too effing loud.
It's one thing if I can understand the conversation with the waitress that comes up because that's something that's has part to of it. Happen.
Yes,
or people ruffling a bag of chips that they're trying to open. That stuff is understandable, but just open conversation.
It was an ongoing conversation.
Hey, you know what? Cinépolis, they need not sell food while the film is showing. That should only be during the trailers.
I agree. And they came in 10, 15 minutes late. And so the waitress came up to her and took their order. We're all well in the movie. She's standing up. I'm quite sure the people behind them were not happy
That's a clear distraction.
Oh, it's a clear distraction.
Okay, so where do you stand then on narking them out to the usher or the waitress?
It wouldn't have helped. And that's why if you've been there, they have this button on the seat where you can call someone.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it would have taken too long. And I don't think it would have given me the satisfaction, honestly, to tell them to shut the F up. Because I could bring someone over and say, and I could tell the person standing in front of me, the waitress said, hey, the people to my left, 4 seats down, they're too effing loud. Can you please tell them? And we're right back where we started anyhow. So I might as well just cut out the middle person and say, I'll do it. I'll be the a-hole. And I know everyone around us was thinking the same thing. But since no one did it, I guess it's one of those things like, well, I guess it's on me. I'm the one who's going to have to save the movie for everyone in the theater because we all see that they're too damn loud, but nobody wants to say anything. Everyone's going to act like we're just going to act like we just don't notice it. Damn that. I wanted to see the movie.
Well, at least you get an opportunity to see it again so you can actually see it.
I'm going to have to see it again because there's some stuff that I missed and there's some stuff that I think I heard. I don't want to be sure, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have plenty of thoughts on it, but I'm not going to do that right now. Just everyone applaud me for not getting in a fight in the middle of the theater at 11 a.m. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I should have seen the movie with you guys. I should have seen the movie. I was hot all day because of that. Because I bought my ticket. I was ready to sit down. It was 11 a.m. It's the first movie.
Yeah.
You should not have any problems with the first movie. I'm thinking kids are in school. Potheads are not up yet. And then we had that.
Well, you got to start thinking of strategies for the next time so that you don't have to go through this again. Like
not going to the movies at all?
No, like bring a squirt gun with some pee in it.
That's criminal. That's the only problem with that.
Okay, asparagus pee.
What?
We might as well just jump to the fight because as soon as I squirt somebody with something,
it doesn't matter what
there's going to be a fight.
Well, no, make it surreptitious so they don't know where it came from.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Walk behind them to a different row and squirt them in the back of the head?
Yeah, sure.
Mark, if you haven't thought this out, you're not a criminal.
No.
Mark, you are not a criminal.
You have been in enough fights to know you have to anticipate what a likely response is going to be.
Yeah, but if they don't know it's you, what are they going to do? Go through everybody until they get to you?
No, they're going to turn around and see me.
Mark, there's only the 3 of them in the row.
Yes.
Listen, I'm just trying to help here, okay?
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't get arrested today. Today was like, I was actively thinking, today just might be the day my ass goes to jail. I was that pissed off because it was so obvious. Nobody was saying anything, and it was just a wanton disregard. And then to have the dirty nerve to start raising up, it's like, ooh.
Now, see,
do not
thank
raise
God
up.
that you did not have that type of personality of someone who looks for that confrontation. Because there are those in this world who, when they say, can you please be quiet, they say it with expletives, they say it with malice, and they say it with violence.
I thought that they were going to escalate. I thought they were going to escalate anyway because I had the dirty nerve to say, could you please stop talking through the movie?
How dare you?
Could you please? I said it twice. Could you please? And they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, I know. Here we go. I've already thought about this. Here we go. And one started raising up. I said, ooh, do not raise up. Do not raise up. Because that's the point of no return.
Yeah.
It's going down at that point.
You get a soda in your face.
Right, all that.
Sambo, everything's
all that.
going down. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm a world star hip hop and fired. KFI AM 640 and YouTube. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. And if it was you watching right now on the YouTube and you're at Cinépolis, ooh, do not raise up.
Give them a...
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+. What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
We've all done it. You see a headline but don't have time to read the whole story, or there's so much news you're not sure what is worth your time. I'm Colby Ekowitz, co-host of Post Reports, the weekday afternoon podcast from The Washington Post. Post Reports brings you what's relevant and revealing. Breaking stories, politics, wellness, culture. Each episode goes beyond a headline for the context you need. Find Post Reports now, wherever you're listening.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And on YouTube. Certain discussions are real simple. I don't need to spend 15, 20 minutes on them. I got an update on Metro, and you're going to help me out. You're going to realize how simple this is to understand. Metro has installed the 7-foot-tall Faregates. They've done it at the A-Line Lake Station in Pasadena, in Firestone, and in South LA. And the question being asked, will these Faregates stop freeloaders and reduce crime? Mind you, I don't know, there may be some 60 different stations, I'm guessing. And you tell me about 3 stations in which you have taller Faregates. This is how simple this is. I want you to go home and imagine locking only one of your doors. Imagine only closing one of your windows. Imagine, I don't know, not turning on your alarm tonight. And then ask the question, will that do much to stop crime? Probably not. That's how simple this is. If you have Faregates, and they're not at all of the terminals, they're not at all of the stations and platforms, then you're not really doing anything. And if you've ever ridden Metro, I have, not all of them, not even half of them, I think, have a Faregate situation. The only time you can have a Faregate is if you have a true subway station, which is underground. If you're on a platform, it's not going to stop anyone. It's an open area. It may be a little more difficult to jump the turnstile, but it's not going to be impossible because it's not completely enclosed. So what are we talking about? We're talking about an unserious solution. Could it help and mitigate at that one particular station in Pasadena? Yeah. At Firestone? Yeah. But the problem is, if someone decides to get on or freeload or fare jump at another station, not named Lake or Firestone, they still pass through those stations. I know this. I've ridden the trains before. It doesn't matter because you haven't secured the totality of the lines. So what? You put your bottom lock on of your door tonight. What happens if you leave your sliding glass door in the backyard open? They'll just come around back. Okay, let's say you lock your front door and you lock your sliding glass door in the back, but you leave your windows wide open. Guess what happens? They'll come in the window. And then let's say you lock your front door, you lock your sliding glass door in the backyard, leading to the backyard, and you close all the windows, but you leave your freaking garage open and the door which comes straight into the house. How safe are you then? Because you locked down most of your house or some of your house? This is the silliness of it all. This doesn't do anything. Mo, you're being too negative. Maybe, but I like to have common sense. And if you're only putting this in at one station or two, not even at the stations which lead into the station that you're putting it on, you're not actually protecting anybody. Not at all. Maybe you'll have fewer fare jumpers at the stations in which these are actually installed. Two. Why not put them in all? If it's such a good idea, or are you unsure? as to the efficacy? Are you unsure that it will actually do anything to stop crime? Do you need to figure out and see, well, are there any weak points? Are there any other entry points that we haven't secured? You probably have. This is a real simple conversation. Real simple. Remember, I would say maybe 20 years ago, and if you're at least 40, you know what I'm talking about. Remember the club that you put on your steering wheel? Yeah, I had the club. Then thieves figured out how to just cut the club off.
Yeah, you just cut right through the wheel.
Right. My point is there has to be some redundancy. There has to be a consideration for the totality of the weak points of a car or a station. Because just locking a door doesn't mean much if you leave the windows rolled down. Can you see where I'm going with this? You know, just because you lock the door and you roll up the windows, and if you haven't, I don't know, some sort of anti-theft device like LoJack or a disarming switch, it's not going to do much.
I'm confused because looking at this looks like this is all about increasing revenue, because all they're citing with this gate, with these Faregates in Pasadena and South LA, is that in Pasadena, from March 3rd to March 5th, 512 people paid, according to what they're saying. There were 512 paid riders. After the Faregates went up, an average of 1,062 paid entries. So I'm like, so are you're just counting paid entries versus non-paid entries?
Yeah, so I guess it helps with the fare jumpers, but don't say to me that you're actually trying to decrease crime, because it's not going to do that. You know, it's not. There are too many points of entry.
Yes, because none of this is saying that this is correlating with a decrease in crime.
Their reasoning is, as of 2023, LA Metro had determined that 94% of riders arrested for committing a violent crime did not even own a tap card. They were trying to connect the dots. Well, if we make it where you got to pay to get on, then they're less likely to commit a crime. But, criminal, they'll get on at a different station.
Or how about having a tap card is not necessarily a mitigator for violence, period. Having a bus pass, anything.
You're saying I'm less likely to stab you in your neck if I have a fare card?
Probably. I guess this is what they're saying, because this arguably what's happening is they're saying, if he gets on the train with a knife, but he's paid to get on, he's less likely to pull the knife out. Why? Because he cares about Metro. He's paying into the Metro system.
And I've gotten a fare card. It's not an identity card, okay? It's not like you put it on like your driver license or something. You can pay cash. It does not matter. Anybody can get a fare card. Even Sam the sex doctor can get a fare card, and no one will know.
Yeah.
Nobody will know. Even Mark Ronner. And
no.
Okay, maybe not Mark Ronner, because he would never get on Metro. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Let's talk about the governor when we come back. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app, and also who might be running for governor.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and also on YouTube. Want to remind you, we're going to be giving away tickets to Disney on Ice tomorrow night. But the only way that you can win them is to be a viewer of the video simulcast, because we will have a visual clue that you will have to know when you call in for the tickets. Again, we're giving away tickets to Disney on Ice tomorrow night here on Later with Mo Kelly, but the only way you can win is to be watching the video simulcast. How do you do that? You go to YouTube, subscribe at Mr. Mo Kelly, MrMokelly. You will find the live link. You can watch there. And then you have your opportunity to call in and win Disney on Ice tickets tomorrow night. Let's talk about some gubernatorial politics. Governor Gavin Newsom, every time I do a radio interview for some other outlet or I do a television interview, I'm asked this question again and again and again. What is Gavin Newsom doing with this podcast? What does he hope to accomplish? And is it successful? And I give pretty much the same answer each time. I don't know whether it's going to be successful, but I get the strategy that he's trying to employ. Here's the strategy very quickly. Gavin Newsom if you do not like him, let's say you only watch Fox News, if you only watch Newsmax, if you only listen to KFI, you're not going to hear anything positive about him. You're not even going to hear his voice for the most part. You're going to hear people talking about him and telling you what to think about him. And Gavin Newsom said, wait a minute. Well, if I'm going to be defined, let me define myself. In other words, put out a podcast and I could talk about the topics that I want, the subjects that I want. I could talk with the people that I would like to talk to. And if I talk to someone who's on the far right, people on the far right will probably tune in and they'll learn something about me and they'll be able to hear something from me that has not necessarily been through the filter of Fox News or Newsmax. That's the strategy. And also, I think he's trying to soften his progressive/liberal edges where people think, oh, he might be somewhat a decent guy, whether you believe that or not. I'm saying this is the strategy. If he can sit down and have a conversation with Steve Bannon, if he can sit down and have a conversation with Charlie Kirk, and it seems like that they're not trying to be at each other's throats, then you may look at Gavin Newsom somewhat differently. And we're only talking about the margins here. We're not talking about 10, 12 points. We're just talking about the margins because obviously he's thinking about running for president. He doesn't have to say it. He terms out as far as his governorship in 2026. Okay. He's doing this now in preparation for then. That's why he's having this podcast. And he's also getting a lot of pushback from Democrats and a lot of pushback from those on the left saying, what are you doing? Why are you platforming these people? What do you hope to accomplish? And Gavin Newsom is now responding to that. Gavin Newsom spoke with Amy Parnes for The Hill this week and said the response to his podcast, which is called This is Gavin Newsom, has been, quote, more bumpy, unquote, than he originally anticipated. This is what Newsom had to say. Quote, I'm being tested by it because the reaction has been a little more bumpy than even I had anticipated. The reaction when I had Charlie Kirk and Bannon on, as in Steve Bannon, on was exactly to me exhibit A of what I feel is wrong right now with my party, an unwillingness to even engage and platform to listen. Maybe we, Democrats, should pay attention and at least express a desire to absorb and learn from what they're doing and how successful they've been. We've not done a forensic of what as an audit of what just went wrong, period, full stop. I don't think it. I know it. I mean, to the extent that I'm marginally part of this party, I represent the state larger than 21 state populations combined. And I can assure you there's not been a party discussion that I'm aware of that has included the state of California, close quote. And this is something else you should remember. What people in California may think of the governor or any governor is different from the rest of the country. The rest of the country doesn't know Gavin Newsom like we do or haven't involved themselves as much as we have. I'll give you a perfect example. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. He's beloved in Florida. Like him or loathe him, he is beloved in Florida. And what he was doing really resonated with Floridians. But the moment he tried to create his national profile, it fell apart. The people who did not know him, even on the right, did not particularly like him. And so this is what usually happens when you have someone who maybe have a strong foothold in his or her state or home area. When they try to develop that national profile, it means that they have to reach out and have to build a wider base, and then you don't know where it goes. Gavin Newsom is trying to be proactive and say, I'm going to help define myself or put myself out there in a way which is not only going to be through the lens and prism of Newsmax and or Fox News or OAN. That's what he's trying to do. I can't tell you whether it's going to be successful, but I completely get the strategy and why he's trying to do it. Right now, I would say, with the exception of former Vice President Kamala Harris, for those who might be running in 2028, he arguably has the largest profile. He's probably maybe Cory Booker of those who might be running. But for the most part, people know who Gavin Newsom is, but they may not know Gavin Newsom, the particular politician. And this is why he's doing that. When we come back on the other side of the break, there is a new entrant into the race for California governor, and it's a Republican. I'll tell you about it in just a moment. It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and on YouTube right now. Don't forget, if you want to win those Disney on Ice tickets tomorrow, you have to be watching the video stream.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
We've all done it. You see a headline but don't have time to read the whole story, or there's so much news you're not sure what is worth your time. I'm Colby Ekowitz, co-host of Post Reports, the weekday afternoon podcast from The Washington Post. Post Reports brings you what's relevant and revealing. Breaking stories, politics, wellness, culture. Each episode goes beyond a headline for the context you need. Find Post Reports now, wherever you're listening.
To also get those clues.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We're live everywhere, the iHeartRadio app, and also on YouTube. You can see Mark Ronner's smiling face at the moment. How you doing, Mark? I didn't have a chance to say hello to you officially.
I was enraptured listening to your whatever you're saying.
About
something or other.
Something you were talking about. Yada, 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 blah, 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 wah, 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 wah.
No, you got me going with your movie theater thing. That's a constant bugaboo with me.
Oh, it is.
I go to movies almost every week, and there's almost always just some filthy animal in there who ruins it.
And part of it is me. If you didn't know, I started the show talking about a very unpleasant experience, movie theater experience at Cinépolis in Inglewood, a place that I usually go to the theater. And I thought I'd be safe at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, the first show, without being disrupted, without being inconvenienced, without being bothered. And no, someone had to try to talk through the movie. So I interrupted them talking. They took issue with me, and it went from there. Long story short, I remember thinking during the movie, watching Sinners, that I may not be going to the movie theater again anytime soon.
And you wonder why theaters are having trouble staying open. Nobody wants to deal with that.
I'm surprised that movie theaters haven't been more aggressive in dealing with it. I don't care about a screen or a 30-second spot talking about don't talk, don't text. No, actually handle that. Deal with that.
Yeah, they need to get more aggressive about that. Have the ushers come through with the flashlights and
yes,
tell people STFU if they're blabbing during the movie.
But that's what they do if you actually go to an actual theater experience.
Yeah.
They will walk through with the flashlight and reprimand you.
Or some places, like I think the New Beverly will throw you out if they catch you on your phone, that kind of thing.
Yes. Yes.
We need more of that.
And,
more tough love.
And I would be more inclined to go to that theater.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened today, I'm sorry, Cinépolis. I used to sing your praises, but that cannot ever happen again. Ever. Or I will clown you like I do Metro every chance I get. Cinépolis.
At what point did people lose theater etiquette? I mean,
I think it was the pandemic. I really do.
Really? I live above a movie theater and I see this happening. And over the last 15 years, I've seen it going from a very people would be very protective of that space within the theater. And now it's just a free for all. People can do whatever they want.
People, I think by and large are more selfish than ever before.
This is probably true, but I also think that people are acting with fewer inhibitions because we have massive undiagnosed COVID brain damage. And I'm not joking about that.
I don't think you're wrong, but I also think that coming out of COVID, we lost all sense of socialization skills of what presumably is etiquette as far as right and wrong and socially acceptable behavior. There's something that's really amiss with society, because at no time was it okay for you to sit down in a movie theater and just start talking. At no time. And you're adults, and they were, I think, in their 30s. Let's say 30. They were younger than me, but let's say in their 30s. Old enough to know better, as my parents would say. But somehow here we are, and I don't ever want to go back to the theater and have to be that uncomfortable worrying about having to get into some sort of situation with someone because they're talking too loud. Now I'm interrupting their disruptive conversation in a movie theater.
How about this? Get one of those really super bright tactical flashlights, and when somebody starts talking, shine it at their head.
You know, I was thinking about just using my phone light.
Yeah, you can do that too.
But I wanted them to hear me. I didn't want to just do that. I didn't want to be passive aggressive. I wanted to be aggressive. And I wanted them to actually acknowledge. I didn't want them to play dumb and think, "What? Why are you shining your phone in my face?" And I want them to hear, "Please stop talking through the movie."
And when somebody stands up in a theater in response to that, that's like getting out of your car.
It is. No, it's an aggressive maneuver and one of escalation. And that's why I said, if you didn't hear the first segment, I said, do not raise up. Do not raise up, because that's the point of no return. Yeah.
At what point, why didn't they just say, "Sorry, my bad, we'll keep it down"?
We don't do that.
Whatever happened to people apologizing?
They were offended that I was offended. They couldn't even acknowledge it. I'm just glad they didn't take it to the next level. But they couldn't even just say, "I'm sorry, my bad." But of course, a person who can say, "I'm sorry, my bad," probably wouldn't have been doing that in the first place.
True.
Anyhow, let me pay off this tease real quick. I said that there is a new entrant in the race for California governor, and his name is Steve Hilton. You might have seen him for many years on Fox News. He's a Fox News contributor, and he's the author of Califailure, and his campaign slogan is "Make California Golden Again." Now, and I try to tell the Republican Party this, and I say Republican Party, the state party of California, Republican Party. If you're serious and you want a shot at the governor's mansion, you have to make a concerted effort. If you are listening right now and you desperately want to have a Republican as governor, I'm going to give you something which is foolproof. This is how you're going to know if someone, actually anyone who's running for governor, specifically a statewide office, if they're serious or not. If someone is serious about running for governor, you will be able to read about their transition team, the people they put in place who will be doing X, Y, and Z jobs if and when they win. You will be able to see that person actually campaigning up and down the state, going to the different counties, going to the different areas of the state. You will actually see that. If they're only doing interviews, TV interviews, or even radio interviews, they're not serious. You cannot win statewide office that way. If they're only doing media that is friendly in nature, they're not serious. California is a blue state. What I mean by that is the large urban areas are blue. It's not like you're going to run for governor and just disregard San Francisco and LA. You're not serious. Okay? They got some 8 million people in LA County alone. And everybody gets to vote in a statewide election, especially for governor. So if your preferred candidate, be it Steve Hilton, be it Chad Bianco, if you don't see them actually campaigning on the ground in Northern California, Central California, they're not serious. Don't expect them to win. If you don't hear them or see them on media, which is not automatically friendly to him, they're not serious. Don't expect him to win. You cannot say, let's just say, come on KFI 15 times between now and the election, and that be the extent of your media outreach. If you're a Republican, you already have KFI listeners. Let me put it that way. You're not gaining anything. Democrats and independents put together outnumber Republicans 2-1. And in a majority plus one election, you have to do more than talk to the people who would already vote for you.
I have a question, Mo. We had this story last night, and I haven't read the book, but the premise implied in the title, Califailure. How is it that the state with the world's 5th largest economy is a failure?
I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. I can understand how people would say, hey, I think our taxes are too high. I think the cost of living is too high. I think that there's a problem with homelessness. We could do better on homelessness. There are too many homeless people. But to have the starting point that California is a failure is dishonest and disingenuous. Do we have warts? Do we have issues? Absolutely. I can look at the city of Los Angeles and point them out all the time. But is California the state of failure? Not for as many other states that we subsidize in this union. You can't be the 5th largest economy and be a failure. That is factually impossible. Impossible.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
I try to tell the truth here. Now, people will disagree with me and they'll argue with me, but they won't have any facts to stand on. But before we go to break, I do want to review. If you want to support Steve Hilton for governor or Chad Bianco for governor, if you're a Republican and want this state to turn red, you will be able to know long before the actual election whether either of those candidates are serious. You will see them campaigning on the ground, all around the state, all the different counties. And you will learn about their transition teams, the people that they've put into their staff who will be presumably this or that in the next administration. If you don't see all that, then they're not serious. They're not actually running for governor. They're running to increase their profile. They're running to get a TV show. They're running to get a radio show, which has been known to happen. They're trying to promote their book, but they're not actually trying to become the next governor of California. And I promise you, you will know this a good 7-8 months before the election. And they'll be doing media, which is either not explicitly friendly, or they'll be doing media which helps build their constituencies and coalitions. It can't be just the people who you already have, because if that's all you're talking to, you're not serious. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
I don't know what you're thinking, and I kind of like that. Keeps it fun.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost? While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you.
Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit SCEducationLottery.com.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.